go to www.totalmindsetshift.com and register to become a member on that website so that we can actually know who submitted what question and we can give you credit for that. Now, getting back to the show itself. Okay, we've been talking about for quite some time now, for at least about 5 weeks, right? Unraveling key challenges men face in today's society. And I think we can conclude that these have been phenomenal conversations, right? And so that brings us to the problem, as we've talked about for the past 4 weeks. Like, what is the problem when it comes down to unraveling these conversations or unraveling these talking points? And the problem is, as you've heard before, everybody has an opinion, everybody has a thought, everybody has a blueprint of what a man is supposed to do, what a man is supposed to be, how a man is supposed to move, how a man is supposed to take care of his responsibility. Everybody has an opinion except the man, right? And so that creates a lot of anxiety, it creates a lot of stress, it creates a lot of discontent between men and women, men and children, and so forth and so on. And so that's one of the reasons why we created the Empowering Perspective membership program, because in the program, what we do is we create the process, a way for you to actually tackle the challenges that you face in today's society. So you'll get a step by step process for dealing with adversity, dealing with challenges, dealing with things that you may not have been taught to deal with when you were younger. So if you're on YouTube, again, look at the bottom of your screen. You'll see the join icon. Click on the join icon and follow the prompts. But remember, right? Membership is great, but diamonds are forever. So, to this particular point, this last conversation as we wrap up this series is all about the role of routines and structures in men's lives. It's kind of hard to say that together, right? And as always, we like to give it back to the individual who came up with this particular topic. And this one will be called the mind of the consistency coach. So, Uncle Junior, the consistency coach, if you don't mind, please kind of share with us like your thoughts when you came up with this particular topic and why it is significant for this conversation.
Okay, I took a couple minutes to write some notes down so I wouldn't forget anything. And what routine and structures do is they provide somewhat of a framework for your life. If a person is on their person, excuse me, if a person is on their purpose, then there has to be a plan. And within that plan is routines and structures for your daily life. Your routines and structures are in a way your habits. Your habits are what encompasses your daily routines and structures will determine the type of life that an individual man will live. And the significance of this is that, every single day, um, when I'm out, I look on the internet and I'm on social media, I see men who are trying to make it through life and they don't have a purpose, they don't have routines, they don't have structure. The habits that they are forming in their life. Well, actually, I will back up. They do have routines and structures, but they may not be consistent with going forward or projecting them to a better position in life. So at some point in my life, I didn't have routine or structure either. But I've learned that with having solid routines and having certain structures in my life that are positive and um, that help build me up or to help create spaces in my life where I can continue to grow and learn, those things have opened up a lot more doors for me. I've become a better person. I have been able to give back more to people of myself. So I just think overall, when it comes to men or anybody, having good routines and structures in your life, or just the type of routines or structures that you have in your life play a huge part in your outcome and to play a huge part in whether or not you achieve your goals or your dreams.
I like that. I like that. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this particular topic or anything that the consistency coach himself had to say?
I think this is another one of those topics that are necessary. It's necessary because, like Unc said, a lot of us are walking around here not knowing our purpose, or even that we are supposed to go achieve it the way that we need to achieve it, as opposed to listening to what everybody else has to say about it. You see what I'm saying? A lot of us didn't grow up having structure. So yeah, this is one of those conversations that are necessary.
I think definitely necessary. And I think this is one of those conversations that will show how we can negatively affect our day, our thinking, and our development as we try to go forward. We're trying to move forward, but while we're got bags with chains and holding us back. So yeah, it's necessary.
I just
I like it.
echo what my brothers. My man.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, I just echo what my brothers already said, that this is definitely going to be a discussion that can easily be overlooked in life, because sometimes we just get caught up in the flow of things, and never. This is something that'll help us contain the chaos,
I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I
and real
agree.
quick, Coach, can
Yep.
I clarify a couple of the differences between the two? Routines are things like brushing your teeth, exercises, waking up in the morning with like a certain routine or ritual or something like that. And then structures are more like your schedule, your budget, your to-do list, different things like that.
Okay. All right. And I think that's important that you define those. Anybody else want to add a little clarity to routines and structure before we get started?
When I saw this, I was thinking more along the lines of the routine is what you want to do, and the structure is how you put it together. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's how I looked at it. But I'm glad Unc defined it and split the two. Like, they're the same because they work together, but they're different in how they're applied. So I'm glad Unc said that.
Roland Gaddy?
Did you say the difference between routine and structures?
Yes.
I think a routine is simply something that you regularly do or follow, while as structures are meant to build. So you can have routine structures that are like Chris routinely goes to the gym, and that's to enhance his physical ability, his mental capability, and his overall appearance and everything else. It's a foundational source of exercising that does more than just help his physicality. While we all routinely, when we get up in the morning, we go to the bathroom, we brush our teeth, we do things that aren't necessarily going to help us propel into wherever we're trying to go, because it's not a structured thing. Structure is something that you place there for balance, for stability.
Yeah, and Chris, you are right too. They are separate, but they're together too. So like Roland just said, the routine would be going to the gym. The structure would be I go to the gym every day at 5 o'clock.
Right. That's what I meant by how you put it together. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, we all get up in the morning, we all use the bathroom, brush our teeth, wash our face, and then go to the gym or whatever you do in the morning to get your day started. And then you have the rest of your day. And then the structure is, okay, I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I brush my teeth, wash my face, go to the bathroom. 5:30, I eat, get my supplements together. 6 o'clock, I'm in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, the structure of the routine. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got more to add, bro?
No, I think it was well explained by the chooser of the topic. I like it. I like it.
Yeah. And I'm not disagreeing with anything that was said. I think for me, I defined it like structure is the thing that I'm trying to create. And then the routine are the behaviors that I have up under the structure to get to the building of the thing. It's kind of like structure is like goals. So we set goals in place, and then the routines are the action steps that I create to accomplish said goals. And that's just my perspective of it. I think for me, if when I say it like that, for me, it just kind of makes it clear.
So structure is like the end game.
It can be. It can be.
Okay.
Or a game to the game to the game to the end game.
Okay. I'm
Because
asking these questions because, like I said, a lot of us don't know what this is.
Gotcha.
So this is something that kind of sort of needs to be like clearly defined. So the men watching this that didn't grow up in this know where to at least start.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you wake up in the morning, hit the snooze button 4 times. That's part of your routine. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you do that every single day, that's part of your routine. Part of most people's routines in the morning, part of their routine is washing their face and taking a shower and brushing their teeth.
Some people, yeah.
Some people.
All right, let's press forward. And Uncle Junior, to your point, going to the bathroom sometimes is out of necessity, not out of routine, man. When you get old, you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, moving forward. The first question I want to bring to the table, because I think these questions will kind of help clear the air. The first question is, as we wrap up this series, remember we've talked, for you guys who are listening, we've talked about this now. This is week 5. So as we wrap up this series, how do you think adopting the right routines and structures can serve as the ultimate tool for overcoming the multiple challenges discussed in earlier episodes?
Well, I guess adopting the right routines and structures can build discipline. Discipline builds confidence, and also discipline also gives you freedom. Because when you are disciplined enough to follow your routine and clear what you need to clear, you have time to do everything else. So you have the confidence to maybe take on something else and see if you are even up to that challenge, or if you can actually beat it. So I guess that's what it is for me. It's a confidence builder. Like, I know if I can get up and do my routine and torture my body the way that I do and still have a full day of work and knock that out and then come home, you know what I'm saying, and still have enough in the tank to do something else. You know what I'm saying? It's a confidence builder. Like, if I can do that, I know I can add something else to that.
Now, for me, I think this adopting routines will help you establish how your day is going. Because a lot of us, we get up, we look at TikTok, we look at Twitter, we look at CNN, we allow all these things to pour into us, and they either pour comedy or something negative into our lives. So that's the depiction on your day first thing in the morning. And if you adopt those things instead of getting up, meditate, getting up, reading a book, getting up, pouring into you, telling yourself, speaking life into yourself, or adding things that's going to build, you're going to have a mundane day. And you're going to sit up there and think life is as everyone else says it will. Oh, it's Monday again. Oh, I can't wait to get off. Like, you ain't even been to work yet. You waiting to get off. But you have a negative connotation from every aspect of life when you allow others to give you your routines instead of you saying, this is what I'm gonna
do. Yeah. I like everything so far. I think that when you have the right routines versus the wrong routines, it's going to determine how your day is, which is going to eventually affect how your life is going to be. So if your morning routine is waking up, brushing my teeth, taking a shower, going to the gym, get my supplements, doing some meditation, spending some time with my family, and then going to work, or is your meditation hit the snooze button 5, 6 times, get your clothes on, try to iron them, and then trying to run out the house at the last minute with a piece of toast, then your morning is going to be a lot different. You know what I mean? So those two situations or those two circumstances can yield different types of results when you walk into the building at work, which in return can affect how you treat the people at work, how you are at work, and then how you are overall as a person. You know, someone who may take the time and adopt certain routines. Because I'm not necessarily saying that everybody need to get up and go work out and do these things. I'm just saying is that there are there are some positive things that you can do with your life in routines, and there are some negative things that you can do with that same amount of time in those routines, like what Roland was just saying. And then those structures too. Are you just waking up every day, just living? You don't know what's going on in the day, or do you have certain things planned out in your life? Do you have, spend time with my family at this time? Do I have eat dinner with my wife? Do I have, what I mean, X, Y, and Z on my structure or on my plan or on my daily tracker? What does your budget look like? Is it anything planned out, or are you all over the place just spending money? So having all those routines, no matter what else goes on in your life, if you don't have the proper routines and structure for them, it's going to be a lot more, life is going to be a lot more challenging, especially when you're trying to overcome a whole bunch of different challenges like we talked about in the previous weeks.
So I agree with my brothers, but what I also think it brings and the value it adds, the structure part that you bring to your life, because the routine sometimes can be altered, right? But the structure you've built in your life also works as as personal boundaries to your way of living. So when it comes to relationships and bringing others into your circle, you have this established this structure to how you move. And when people see that structure, they they can either choose at that point to be all in, or they can choose that structure does not operate in the way that they see fit. Because when we talk about a lot of the struggles men deal with, and a lot of times uh it's easy for us to be knocked off, like coach like to say, not be knocked off our square, because our attention is expected to go here and go there. But when I have a structured lifestyle, you see that and you already understand that when I say I can't do, what I'm doing, what I'm about, so you understand what limitations I have, or what do and what I don't do. And so when you jump into this life, or you jump into to relationship with me, you understand this is how I move, this is where I'm going. So I think it kind of keeps you safe there. And if anybody chooses to get on board, they're choosing to accept this structure.
I like it. For me, I like to look at this first by understanding the structure, because the structure makes it possible for me to build whatever thing that it is I'm trying to build. Um, and to accurately build the structure, I must start first with the proper foundation. So if I don't have the proper foundation, then it doesn't matter what I do next. When it comes down to constructing my structure, just like building a house, you build a house, you got to have the foundation for the house. Then you go with the studs and so forth and so on, right? I think a lot of times what you observe in society is that a lot of people attempt to build without structure. So they go around adopting routines that they believe are right from other people. So they get a routine from over here and they get a routine from over here. And that routine, even though it might be a good routine, it's not focused on any particular structure that that person has defined in their life. So first and foremost, I need to make sure that I have the right structure. Once I have the right structure, now my routines can be defined. Once I define my routines, then when challenges show up, I have the opportunity to make the appropriate decision within the scope of the structure that I'm trying to build. This is why I always talk. For me, I make decisions quick. It doesn't take me long to make decisions, because if the thing that is being presented to me fall within line of what my structure, what my structure is, then I can make a decision that yes, I want to do that. Yes, that involves what I'm doing. It goes nicely. It fits nicely with what I'm working on. But if it does not fit in, I won't make. I promise you, either I won't engage in it, or I just make a decision to say no. It's that simple. So when you look at it from that perspective, structures and routines make it easy for me to overcome multiple challenges, because again, overcoming one challenge is a thing, but when you have challenge after challenge after challenge all happening simultaneously or at the same time, then what you'll find is that you get a little anxious within that space, but it's easy to make those decisions. So again, that's how I believe it should work for everybody. So for me, the concept is to make certain that I have the proper framework for the structure that I'm trying to build, and then let that define my routines moving forward. So that's my perspective of it. Let me see. It looks like Michelle Ray had a comment in relation to this. I think she was responding in something that Roland said. She said, I totally ignore it's another Monday morning negative text. A day is a day that I'm grateful for. And I agree with that. Like, there is a stigma when it comes down to Mondays. I got it. You've enjoyed the weekend. You probably partied with your friends, whatever the case may be, or binge watch whatever your favorite show is. But then next thing you know, Monday is approaching fast, and then you got to get ready to go to work. And it's like an automatic drag. But why not look at it as the first day of Friday, right? So this day gets me closer to Friday. The next day gets me closer to Friday. Why not look at it from that perspective? So I like this comment. Chris, you look like you're about to say something, brother.
I love Mondays. Monday is chess day. I love Mondays.
There you go. And Lisa Keys had one comment with this one as well. The evidence of your consistency will manifest itself in the future. Absolutely. Our mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, has a phrase to where he likes to say, never underestimate the power of consistency, right? So small steps incrementally in the direction of your future will create the outcome that you're expecting. So thank you for sharing that as well. Okay. That said, moving on to the next question under this discussion. How do daily routines not only establish a framework for your success or failure, but also influence mental well-being?
Look, that was just what I was just saying. Like, people get up, roll out of bed, that's their routine, snooze, 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 then get to work and hate their life every single day, right? So, like, when it comes to their mental health, a lot of them, like, I see it every single day. People are not happy at work all the time. You know what I mean? People are stressed out, overworked, underpaid, all whatever you want to add in there. That's how people feel sometimes. And a lot of when I talk to people at work, and I'm like, hey, what'd you do this morning? I just got up and, walked the dog and came back and got to work. I know people that they roll out of bed just enough time to wash their face, brush their teeth, and get in their vehicle, then get to work. You know what I mean? So their daily routine is set up for them to not be to kind of fail. You know what I mean? They haven't even taken care of themselves. They haven't even spend any time with themselves. Like, they wake up and give their first part of their day to some job or some other entity out there. You know what I mean? They haven't taken care of themselves. I'm a huge advocate for taking care of yourself. But like I said, these daily routines and stuff like this, if your routines are jacked up, it's going to be hard. You're establishing a jacked up framework, you know what I mean, which is going to be counterproductive for success, and your mental health can totally be shot.
When I looked at this question, I immediately thought about scripture, right? I thought about uh, Galatians 6. When Paul says, be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reapeth, right? But when I'm thinking about sowing, I'm not thinking about just putting the seed down, but I'm talking about cultivating, planting, watering, and tending. When I'm thinking about structure and routine, right? Whatever encompasses that, you are tending to that daily. You are watering that daily. And if it's a failed routine, you get some people that just get up when they get up. They don't care if they're late to work. They don't care. But then they mad that they're passed over for promotion. There's no bonuses for them at the end of the year, or whatever your job offers, right? Or if it's your business and you're not seeing better numbers than you did last time, because your consistency is telling you that you don't have a structure or a standard to how you do it. You're just doing. If that's how you live your life, that's not only what you're sowing and what you have cultivated for, but that's also what you're watering daily. That's what you're tending to daily, giving light to daily, and that will eventually grow up in your life. So when we're talking about establishing a framework, this is how I move, which means everything that is attached to me is in line with how I operate. So having a structure or having a structure in routines, even making your the way that you operate on your job, the way that you build reports, the way that you pay pay the bills, the way that you do things is a routine to how you do it, and not just a structure to when you do it, but it's a routine of how you do it. And if it's late every month, eventually that extra you paying is gonna take a toll, because if it's business, you're not accounting for that extra in your overhead. So you hurting. If it's home, you're not accounting for it in your budget. And so that hurts. So you have to build a routine that has everything in mind, that has pay dates and time, that has how long it takes you to get ready, right? Because that's how I base my alarm clock, based off of how long it's going to take me, right? uh and maybe as you go throughout life, or as you continue to do it, you see I have a little wiggle room here, a little wiggle room there. But if you do, I wouldn't change the routine or the structure that you built. Just know that you have a little room. And so I think that's how I think about it when I think about structure and routine. It's consistency. So whatever I am tending to consistently in my life is what I'm going to breed, whether it's success or failure.
And we all know those people who are consistently late, consistently lazy, consistently complaining. And those are the same people I consistently can't stand, because they the same ones who in the morning, they will allow the snooze button to go off 15 times. I hate it. When the alarm go off, get up. Why waste 30 minutes pushing the button every 5 minutes, pushing the button? Just get that whole 30 minutes worth of sleep. When the alarm goes off, I'm up. I'm not waiting for another alarm to tell me I got, because I want to get up at this time. Because what you do is you plan on being slow. You plan on being lazy. You plan. It's like when you plan your day out. Oh, I'm gonna get up. I got another 5 minutes. Now you're counting time that already was allocated for something. So when we establish this framework for success, success says I have a mission. I know what my mission is, and now I'm going about my day as if I'm going to accomplish the mission. And what we like to do is we like to take our time. We like to, well, I like to get comfortable. No, I'm going about my business. That's why I think I told the fellas or somebody the other day, like, I want to be able to dress when I go outside. I don't care what I'm doing. It looks like I'm about business. I'm not out here to play. If I'm going to a football game, that's a difference. Or if I'm on the grass, that's a difference. But when I'm out in the public, I want people to say, man, where is he going? What is he about? Because my mindset is on business related things. And if you start from when you get up in the morning or before that, because I'm one of them people, I plan my day out. So the night before, I got at least 2 things that I want to wear. So I don't have to think about it in the morning. I don't have to be looking. I don't have to be ironing, because I plan for success. So now all I got to do is catapult myself out the bed, get ready, and go and succeed. I got to push myself. And if I don't push myself, if I'm dragging, then I'm going to just drag everybody else around me down. And that's what a lot of people do. They allow other people around them to drag them down into their mundane lives. Oh, I don't want to be at work. Why? We need to get paid more. You ain't doing the work you're supposed to do, but you want to get paid for more. But that's neither here nor there.
In the evening, in the morning was the first day. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm agreeing with you 100%. I think so. This kind of goes back to what I was saying previously, right? It's your routine kind of helps create the framework that you've conceptually established in your mind, which is the structure. Again, before they build a house, there's a blueprint. right? So the blueprint is the concept for the house to be built. The routine is you putting in the action to build the house. Therefore, less said, the structure is now established through the routine. I love what Roland said here because I'm agreeing. I mean, I love what everybody said, to be honest with you, but specifically Roland's point, because I think we need to be honest with ourselves. This is where you hear me say all the time, do not believe what a person say, believe what they do. Their actions are the truth. Their words only tell you who they want to be. They have not realized that. They have not what's the word I'm looking for? They have not resolved within themselves how to actually be that in which they say. So, routines, your behavior will always tell the truth. There is a disconnect a lot of times between our brain and our habits, right? Your conscious mind will say, "Hey, I want to do that because I see, Tawami's doing this thing. So that's cool. I want to do that as well." But my habits won't let me do it because I've already got a said routine. So somehow, in some way, I have to break the original routine that I've created, good, bad, or indifferent, in order to achieve the thing that Tawami is doing. That's where we exist a lot within this world. A lot of times we say, I want to do this. I want to be a great person. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good spouse. I want to be a good mom. I want to be a good, spouse, whatever that looks like. But unfortunately, there's a disconnect between your concept of what good is and what the idea of what good looked like in your past. And so we have to overcome that. So if you want to create the future that you really want, it starts with changing the habits to go around the structure that you want to create. That's why we created that long drawn out conversation when it comes down to creating goals in the membership program, because a lot of times we were taught how to create goals wrong. And because we were taught how to create goals wrong, we will create a goal that's like 50 feet in front of me because it's easy to attain and it strokes my ego once I accomplish it. We have to get to the point that we create goals that stretch us. And then you have to create sub goals up under that and then be consistently working toward meeting those milestones into goal accomplishment. Yep, go ahead.
See how simple you made that sound? That was simple, but it is not easy. And I think that's the part of it that nobody talks about. The way that you just broke all that down, it seems like it's simple. Hey, I can do that. But there are people who have a set routine, a negative set routine, and they want to flip it to a positive, but keep the negative with the positive. You understand what I'm saying? And you see how Unc just shook his head? It does not work. It does not work. It is the thing. Everything that we are saying is very, very simple when we just say it. But when you've been doing a certain thing for so long and you want to all of a sudden change it, it is not easy. It requires a lot of discipline. I just wanted to add that because, like, when we talk, we break it down, like, and all of you know that I'm a lowest common denominator kind of dude. Like, I always break it down to the lowest possible. And it sounds simple that people think that they could just wake up and they're going to change. And that is not the case. It takes time. I just wanted to add that.
And that's the mental health factor too. When you think about it, right? It is when I'm trying to make a change in my life, there are some things that I've been doing that I have attached to the identity of who I am. And so sometimes I make excuses like, well, that's just how I am. That's just who I am. You gotta accept it. God made me this way. We say these things because we don't want to lose what we have identified ourselves with, when those are sometimes the things that have been detrimental to everything we've been trying to achieve all along. And so a part of creating new routines and creating new structures, it comes with relearning a thing. Like everything coach says sounds simple, but here's the other complicated part is as well, is getting the information. I got to get myself in position to get the information, and not just get it, but accept that the information is greater than me. Because what I'm doing right now is not working. This is why I'm out searching, looking for answers. And that information is greater than me. It's greater than my want to just do this, than my want to just sleep an extra 5 minutes. My want to just eat this double cheeseburger, even though I got weight loss goals. Whatever that, like, sometimes the things, not sometimes, almost all the times, the things that you want to hold on to is the thing that is negatively affecting you seeing results. And so you have to, and that plays into your psyche, because it's like, no matter what I do, I just can't seem to get one foot in front of the other. Take a step back. Just wipe your slate clean and say, I'm going to build my strength. If what you're doing is not working, you got to be willing to go back to the drawing board, erase everything, and allow yourself to build from the beginning. Because that idea of knowing what's ahead, knowing what I'm doing, because especially for men, one of the things that I've noticed, all the men that I know, one of the things we all hate is the unknown. We like foresight. And so building that structure and that routine give you foresight. That's just how I'm seeing when we're talking about the mental health aspect as well.
But that, what you just described, is called control issues. If you need to know the outcome, then that's because you have a control problem. And that's one of the biggest things that we have to learn to let go. You have to be comfortable with moving forward, not necessarily knowing the outcome, but knowing that moving forward in the routine that is governed by the structure will yield you a favorable outcome. But if we don't know what's around the corner, we won't move. We'll stay right there and say, okay, I'm comfortable right here where I'm at. And I'm telling you, it is a systemic problem. Also, I will also add that the environment that you keep matters, right? I can't stress this piece enough. Like, some people put in the chat already, they started talking about the negative mindset. What you will find, and I talk about this, and Roland and Gad, you heard me say this on several times. I can't take a source of positive information that was created for me to grow and thrive and be good, that was given to me by my creator, and take that and pour it on top of a pool of negativity. Because the outcome, again, remember that in that space, it always work according to multiplication. So when I take that positivity and inject it into negativity, the outcome is always negative. We just think it's better than what we were doing because of where we got the information from. But what we fail to do is go and pull the weeds out of the garden. And then we go in there and we try planting new plants on top of in the garden where a whole bunch of weeds exist. The outcome is going to be negative because the weeds will hide the sun, will actually drown out the new plants. They will drown the sunlight from it, and they will starve to death and they will die. So we have to get to the point and understanding, like, number one, first and foremost, everything that you taught wasn't right. And that's going to be a hard pill to swallow, because you can't tell me my mama was wrong. You can't tell me my daddy was wrong. No, they were wrong. I'm sorry. You have to accept that. It don't make them bad people. They gave you what they knew. That's okay. Right? So some of the stuff that we have going on here is wrong. We have to, we have to open these up and close this, and then be open and honest and accepting of what the new information is given to us, and accept that. Accept the new information. You don't even have to accept it blindly. Analyze it. Analyze it. Look at what someone else is trying to help you to understand and compare it to what you already know. Which is better? Which is more right? We understand what you're comfortable with, right? Just because you're comfortable with it doesn't make it right. In fact, the fact that you are comfortable with it means that it is a part of your comfort zone. And if you're comfortable in your comfort zone, I guarantee you, you will not change it. But once, trust me, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? When you're tired of seeing the exact same thing over and over again, then you'll get to the point and say, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of receiving the same thing. I'm tired of waiting so inflation can catch up with my lifestyle. I am tired. I'm tired. So what was this thing you was talking about again, Chris? How does that work? Now you're humble. Why? Because you stayed put long enough for life to catch up with you. And when life catches up with you, life is going to teach you a lesson in a much painful manner, when all you had to do is just listen when somebody was trying to give it to you.
Yeah. I like all that. And even with the routines and structures, and everybody kind of touched on it in some shape or form so far, and that's the mindset. I look at the mindset as being the foundation. You know what I mean? It's like, if, like Coach said earlier, if the foundation is rocky, it's going to be hard to build a structure on it. So, and like, son Timothy was talking about, certain things when it comes to the mindset as well. So it's like, if the mindset is not there, then the routines won't be there, the structure won't be there won't be any plan to go forward in your life. So you have to, at some point, go back and readjust that foundation, or readjust that mindset to the proper mindset that can yield the proper structure and routines going forward. So, ain't, like you say, ain't nothing gonna happen. You ain't gonna build a building worth for nothing if the structure is bad, and you ain't gonna build your regular person, your body, your inner man, if the structure is jacked up either. So if the mindset and the structure ain't, the mindset is not there, the foundation is not there, it's going to be really hard to build anything on top of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, everybody, wherever you are, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's LinkedIn, go ahead and hit the like button. If you feel so inclined, hold it down until you see the heart and hit the heart button as well. We appreciate all that stuff. So going to grab some of these comments out of the chat. Where do you want me to start at? Let's look at where Cassandra. I'm sorry. So, young Christian, good to see you, brother. The right structure is very crucial. It sets up the needed pieces of your life's decisions that you make in your life, and will set it up accordingly. Absolutely. Absolutely. The structure, and I can't stress that piece enough. A lot of times we're doing stuff, right? We're just constantly doing, but we don't have a structure. We don't have a foundation. We don't have a blueprint, but we're busy doing stuff. And you've seen it time and time again. Go ahead, Chris.
Now, it gives me a warm feeling to see how this man, and I am using the word man on purpose, it gives me a warm feeling seeing the things that he comments. Like, you are listen, Mr. Christian, you are farther than a large percentage of the men that are in your that you see every day. You are a lot farther than you think, man. For
Starting
real.
right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are
Starting right here.
you are a lot farther than you think, man. For real. It makes me feel good, man. I just wanted to get that off of my chest.
Absolutely.
And to what Chris just said, where the community has to do good service now, is everything that we see that this young man he's thinking better than I know I thought at his age, right? And probably better than some of the brothers here on the panel thought. But now, even when we had a good mind frame and a good thought process, here's where a lot of people, not everybody, but here's where a lot of people failed us, is nobody taught us how to put action to it, how to implement this into life. And that's where mentors step in. And we got to stop some of us older dudes, we got to stop waiting for every young man to come to us, because some of them grew up learning ego, learning pride. And sometimes if we love one another and love the young men in our community, offer that. If you know where he's going and you got some answers, offer that, and maybe he'll take it.
Absolutely.
Because somebody has to cultivate this mind and teach him how to put it into work before life does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to young brother Christian, man. We are proud of you, bro. Cassandra, his mother, says your daily morning routine sets the tone for the day. The evening and nightly routine will allow you to debrief from the activities of the day. Improper routines will have one in a bad cycle. Now, I want to make sure I identify why I did that initially, because his mother is tuned in daily, right? So therefore, she is having him to tune in. That's an important thing to understand. That was the reason why I started this network, right? We can't reach, and I say this a lot, you can't reach everybody, especially a lot of these young men right? You can't go around the mother. A lot of times you have to talk to the mother, and she has to be the gateway to realize that this is good information. This is positive information. So that was the reason I brought that out there. Cassandra, I hope you don't mind. But I love her comment here. Your thoughts, gentlemen.
I totally agree. I mean, I agree with
Yeah,
you because
I
I
mean,
think,
there's literally nothing else to say. Like
yeah, I mean,
this might be the comment of the night.
because you need all that negativity, you got to dump it. You can't. That's why I always like men don't come home. Majority of men, can't say all men, don't come home and talk about all that negative stuff that happen at work. They gonna drive around the block. They gonna go work out. They gonna go play ball. They gonna release that thing. While as other people, not men, will come home and say, "Well, Trina did this, and you know she had the nerve to do this, and yada yada yada." That's their way of ventilation, not necessarily ours. Whereas, but you got to let it go. You got to debrief. You got to get it out of your system because you can't hold on to it. Because if you hold on to it, you're going to wake up with, oh, I got to go see this heifer today again. Oh, yeah, she's supposed to be. And now that's what they call them. Heifers isn't even worse. And, and you going to hold, but you hold in the contention and it's going to eat you up. It's not eating them up because they having a good day. They like, oh man, I'm good to go. While as you looking at them sideways, look at her. She this, that, the other. Now your whole countenance is negative and your whole day goes negatively. And your work, see, people think their work environment is what's nasty. It's not your work environment, it's you.
Hmm.
When work is nasty, most likely it's because you're nasty. It's because you are holding on to stuff because it's a job to me. So when I go, I know at the end of the day, I go home. So you got to look at it like, hey, this is just a job. This ain't life. When I get off, I'm gonna go pet my dog. I'm gonna kiss my kids. I'm gonna hug my wife. Whatever it is that you do, you get to get away from there, and you can't make that part of you your life.
I like it.
I
Great.
agree with this too. Your routine does set the tone for your day. When you have a productive morning, I think that your entire day can be great, which in return, if you have 5 consistent days back to back of good mornings, you have set yourself up for 5 consistent days of good days. You know what I mean? So I think it's important for most people, if not everybody, to have some sort of positive daily routine that catapults them into the day, full of positive energy and taking care of your body or whatever it is that you see fit to kind of sort of fill up your cup in the morning. I'm a firm believer in taking the first hour of your day to take care of you and doing whatever it is that you need to do for yourself so you can fill your cup up and not only fill it up, but have overflow. And like Coach has said many times, give people, the overflow. You know what I mean? So keep your cup full and the overflow you can impart onto everybody else. But many people heard it so many times, you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're waking up in the morning with a bad routine and dragging and stuff like that, it can be sometimes hard or challenging to give back to anybody else. So you may not even feel like it or even want to give to anybody else because you haven't even taken care of yourself. So I definitely agree with Cassandra. Your daily routine does set the tone for your day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One more comment, then we need to move on. I think Lisa Keys put in a comment, non-established routines can affect your mental health daily, subconsciously, and consciously because your internal thoughts speak to you and telling you you have something to complete, which can cause internal conflict. Absolutely. Absolutely. Spoken straight from the books of Dr. Caroline Leaf. So absolutely. I can't stress that piece enough. Um, Sharina Fraser, good to see you. Welcome back to the show, and thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your contribution to the network. And again, you are a valued member, and it's always great to see you when you show up. So thank you again. Again, For anybody else who wants to be a supporter of the channel, just again, look below the screen on YouTube and identify the icon with the $ and give whatever you can. It always goes back into the network. And we continue to try to bring value to you every time we go live. Okay. Moving on to the next question. All right. What is the difference between negative and positive routines, and does it matter as long as it's working for me?
Is there a such thing as a negative routine that, well, never mind, because there is a such thing as a negative routine that works. It's just working negatively. But if
Here-
you like it, I love it.
So I've been thinking about this. I'm glad we finally got to this question, because I don't know. I'm just being straight. I don't know, because I think some of this may be subjective. I think sometimes we can be on the outside, and I'm guilty of it too, and looking at like, man, this person hit the snooze button and their life is they just running into work. And I am assuming that their life maybe suck or that doesn't work for them. But for some people, I don't get it, but for some people, it may work for them, you know? So I don't necessarily know if there is a negative routine, you know what I mean? Or the difference between the positive and the negative, you know what I mean? I guess like, you know, 'cause I there have to be some people out there who we may consider that have negative routines and they're successful, you know? So I'm kind of stuck on this one, so I'm definitely open and about to mute my mic and open up my ears to whatever you guys have to say on this question, because I'm kind of stuck on this one.
I'm with you too, because it's like what might be negative to me could be positive to them. You understand what I'm saying? So I guess it is subjective. Who am I to say?
How I see it is when we talk about a negative routine, something may be negative, but it's like the difference in somebody living and somebody living. It's not just an inflection on the tone, because I'm living every day, but some people are living check to check and content with that. They have the capabilities or ability to do much better if they would produce some things in their life, if they would see themselves in a different light, start from some different routines. It's like I had to build in a sidewalk. Building the sidewalk, I thought, oh, I got the little border and just gonna pour the concrete in. Pour the concrete in. When I took the borders off, and every time somebody step on it, it would crumble. I didn't understand that you needed some rebar, you needed some steel in there in order to maintain and hold that structure together. Because if you just pour it down and make a mold, it's gonna go out once pressure is on top. A lot of people have that where once pressure comes, it's flat. It looked good from the outside. It looked good from the surface, but when pressure comes, it's gonna fold. And a lot of people, we will say, "Well, this works for me because yeah, but you miserable. This works for me. Yeah, but you aren't supervisor material. You aren't excelling. You aren't doing these things. You're merely living instead of actually living. You can live higher, and I ain't promoting these like I'm getting paid for them, but this is a good book. You got my man Les Brown, and it's a bunch of people, and a friend of mine got a part in there. This is a good book because it establishes a mentality that you can do what you put your mind to. But until you put your mind to it, and your mind and your actions, you're gonna sit there and talk about what other people ain't doing. And those are the routines that you say, well, I'm good to go. No, you're not. Because if you were good to go, you would be happy. If you were good to go, you wouldn't have so much contention and hatred in your heart for what other people do as positives. But you looking like, oh, she ain't all that. You never got a nice thing to say because you good to go.
But see, again, you have a point. But on the flip side of that, there are people that would have a quote unquote negative routine to us, but they're cool. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I say it's subjective. You understand what I'm saying? Listen, I understand where the conversation is going, and I understand where we are trying to figure things out, but I'm not throwing a shot at anybody. but I'm not egotistical enough to say that a person's routine is negative because it's negative to me, if it's not negative to them, if that makes any sense. So this is the part where I listen, because if you like it, I love it. I can't tell you what works for you unless you ask me, what can I do to get better? You understand what I'm saying? If you are cool right there and you not complaining and you content living paycheck to paycheck, or you content in your position and you not complaining, who am I to say that that's negative? Yes, you're capable of doing more, but if you don't want to do more and you are happy where you are, who am I to say that you're doing something negative? You understand what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it.
So just to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, it's not that you can't tell them that their routines is negative. It's just that you won't tell them unless they ask you.
It's not even that.
Well, I just want to make sure, because that's what you just said.
No. I said if they're content where they are and they are not complaining about what they are doing, who am I to say that that's negative? You understand what I'm saying? Just because it's negative to me. Now, if to Roland's point, if they are where they are, living paycheck to paycheck and complaining and whining about it and not doing anything to change it, then that's when I would view it as a negative, because you want something better, but you think that you can stay where you are and get something better. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I know people right now that are content being a supervisor at a delivery service provider or a lead driver for a trucking company. They don't want to go any higher. They don't want to go any lower. They are content. They know they can do more. They just don't want to because they are okay where they are. That's, to me, that's not a negative. But also, to Roland's point, I work with people every day that complain about the job that they are doing, but are not doing anything to either exit that job or to find another position in that job that benefits them. That's when I would view it as a negative. So to Uncle Junior's point, it is subjective, and it's not up to me. It's up to that person. So I wouldn't be that guy to say you're being negative just because I know you can do more and you're not doing more, unless you're complaining about it. If that makes any sense.
It makes sense to me, and I think that would be, to me, a minimalist person who says, hey, all I need is this and I'm comfortable here. And that's fine. When you're comfortable in a situation, you ain't worried about. See, people who are happy don't complain. See, complainers, those, I'm talking about the people who always think that they should have more than they want to work for and always want. I'm talking about those complainers. I'm not speaking to someone who has a minimalistic behavior and say, hey, I'm happy with what I have. I don't need to make $700 million a year. I don't need to make all this. I'm talking about the people that they're unhappy in their situations, yet they don't want to change. Those are the people I'm talking about.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you, which is why I'm on your side. However, collectively, generally speaking, we have a horrible habit of saying what's negative for somebody else when that somebody else is content where they are. That's why I said that I wouldn't say anything unless it was brought to me, or unless I know that person is doing more and they're constantly complaining about wanting more but not doing more. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to be that guy. So if you like it, I love it. If you are happy where you are, go be happy where you are. I'm not going to say nothing, but don't come to me complaining when you know you can do more, but you're not doing more, but you expect more. Don't do that, because then I'm going to curse you out. And then I'm going to tell you, this is what you need to do. I'm going to curse you out first because you know better. And you're coming to me for validation, and I'm not going to give it to you. Stop complaining and do what you know you can do. Break that negative routine that you have because you want something positive. Quit trying to bring that negative routine with you, because it's not going to work. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, I always look at everything. I pull myself out of it and I look at it for what it is. I don't want to be that guy. So that's just me.
Gotcha. Got old cousin Chris over there. Gaddy, what you got?
Man, so I get everything that y'all saying, but Here's the two things I'll say, right? One of it y'all kind of said, does it affect where you're trying to go or where you want to go? And does it affect where you're at? Right? Because at the end of the day, I'd be doggone, because I'm not gonna be cussing Peter. I'd be doggone.
Is this what we're
if
doing
I
on
have
this
to
fine
pick up-
Friday evening?
That's it.
Okay.
Peter.
Okay.
Nah, but I'd be doggone if because your bad habits and your terrible routine causes me to take up your slack for 25 minutes because you can't get to work on time. I'd be dang. I'd be it's a compound word I want to use, but I wish I would. No. So now what happens is because you're comfortable not being promoted, because you're comfortable with not being looked at as a stellar employee, that's cool. I'm fine with that. But you're not going to burden me. You're not going to make because now if I don't pick up your slack, our section falls and what we produce is not produced as well or is not produced as fast as it ought to be. And now I'm looked at as negative as well because I work with you. No, pick up your slack. You got to be here so things can and so what happens, and especially if I'm the supervisor or if it's my business and you're an employee, no, I will not lose production because you can't show up on time. I don't understand how some people keep their jobs for so long and can never be there. They never produce. Whenever somebody has a question for what they actually work on, they can't be found because they're taking 30, 45-minute smoke breaks every 10 minutes. As soon as they come in, they're ready for a smoke. No, these are routines and habits now. That's not just affecting you, but it's affecting everybody that has to pick up your slack because of your absence. And so sometimes these routines you have is causing everything around you to suffer. And sometimes you have people that work with you that are just so nice and don't like conflict, that they just pick up the slack and ride on, and so you think everything is fine. But the moment I get promoted or the moment I move to another section and you get somebody that don't mind speaking their mind, now they're toxic. Now they have the problem. Now get here on time. Stop taking your break should be 10 minutes. Get back here. Like, we need you in order to operate and to succeed. So that's how I look at negative routines. Positive routines is where not just you elevate, but the things that you touch, the things that you do, the people you work with, also relative. Like, do you benefit where you are? Do you elevate where you are? So when I'm looking at negative, positive, that's how I'm looking at it. Negative routines sometimes bring down. It doesn't always keep you here where you're comfortable. Sometimes it brings you down, and it brings those around you down. That's all I got.
So this is where me and Gaddy see eye to eye on this. I am going to submit that it's not subjective. It's only subjective because we're looking at it through the lens of the story of the other person, not necessarily understanding whether or not they have a structure. If they don't have a structure, then what is the outcome? What is the impact? Right? I think the other side to it, if somebody else is saying that their routine is positive or negative, I'm good with that. That's their business. It has no bearing on me. My job is to focus on what I got going on and what I'm working towards. For people that's in my circle, now there's accountability metric. The accountability metric is for me to reach out to that person and say, hey, what's going on with that podcast you said you want to work? What's going on with this that you said you want to do? What's happening with that? I literally just had this conversation earlier today, right? The thing that makes it non-subjective or objective is the fact that there's a structure, there's a goal that that person is trying to obtain. So when you look at said routines, does that routine get you closer to your goal? That's cut and dry. That's evidence. That's obvious. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, there is no subjectivity in there. There is only objectivity. I can look at my goal. I can look at my behavior. Does my behavior get me to my goal? Check yes or check no. If the answer is no, change behavior. It's literally that simple. Just like when we was in grade school and you sent the girl the letter and said, "Do you like me?" Check yes, check no.
Yes, no, maybe.
That's it.
And if you didn't like her, you tripped her at recess.
That's it. And I really think it's that simple. It kind of goes into, I think I've seen May Bird said something similar to that as well. How the routine is impacting others in the household or their coworkers could make it negative. So the impact of your routine is not just how it's affecting me, but how is it affecting others. I always say, and I'm going to start saying this out loud more. When you win, everybody wins, everybody around you, right? But there's a caveat to that. When you lose, just like Gaddy was saying, everybody lose because now he got to pick up my slack. Whether the slack is that he got to speak to me, he got to pep me up, he got to pull me out of this psychological slump that I put myself in intentionally because my behavior is what really put me there, and the outcomes that came from my behavior. Let's just be completely transparent. The outcome that you're currently living, you were fully participating in the events that led up to it. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm sorry. That's just what the truth is. So when we look at this, what is the difference between negative and positive routines? Well, the difference is whether or not those routines lead to a positive outcome. If it leads to a positive outcome, then it is positive routine. If it leads to a negative outcome, then it's negative routine. What is a positive outcome? The outcome that I said I wanted to achieve when I created the blueprint for my structure.
I agree. However, I'm still going to look at the objective piece. You understand what I'm saying? I'm still going to look at the objective piece only because, like I said earlier, we have a tendency to look at how somebody is doing and they could be happy and content with what they're doing, even though that they know they can, even though you know or you think that they can do better and think that they have a negative routine and it's working for them. You understand what I'm saying? But I get that if that person has a negative routine and it's affecting everything around that person, that's when that routine is a bad thing. But I can't put my expectations on somebody else when that somebody else has a positive going on in their life and they are content and they not hurting nobody.
I don't disagree. No, is it my responsibility to? Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I said I look at it objectively. Like what's good for him might not be good for me, but it's good for him. You know what I'm saying? What's good for me might not be good for him, but it's good for me. It's just that when what you're doing is affecting what I'm doing in a negative matter, that's when the conversation needs to be had.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's all I was saying.
And the other side to it is that I'm not even looking at what you're doing because I don't have a say so, especially if you're not in my circle. I'm good with it. Whatever you do you. How to say, do you, boo? I'm good. But for the people, for my people, now I have to, because am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. So that's why we have to have that conversation.
I remember people. I remember growing up, people always saying, "As long as I got, as long as I can pay my bills, right, I'm good." And it's like, to Chris's point, like I get that. However, I'm not like that, but I do know, like I get people wanting the blueprint for their life to just be being able to pay their bills, and once they achieve that, I think some of those people are okay with it. I personally think that that's a limited mindset. Me, however, there are people who that's their thing. And some of it ain't necessarily by choice. Some of it is what has been programmed in them. Some of it is generation after generation after generation. That's how everybody lived. So that's all they know. So for them, they like, look, I got me a job at the drugstore. I'm the supervisor. I'm good. We barbecue every weekend.
That's why I said what I said earlier. Like you
I
think,
get it all. I get
right.
both
Like
sides.
you think you think that it's a limited mindset, but he's cool.
He's
So
cool
just
with
let
it.
him be cool.
And he's
You understand
actually
what I'm saying?
he's getting the outcome of his blueprint, which is
Right.
to get all his bills paid and barbecue every week.
Who am I to say
However,
that that's negative?
I
Because I
get
think
it.
that's a limited mindset. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, no shot, but I'm not that egotistical.
Yeah, but I think we're saying the same thing. I think we're rewashing clean clothes right now. I
Oh
think,
yeah.
yeah, I think that's what we're doing. I think everybody in some degree said the same thing, right? I don't really care what somebody outside my circle got going on. So I don't have an opinion about whether it's negative or positive. That's their business. Now,
Mhm.
if they're in my circle, that's a whole nother conversation. Because when they introduce an idea, like Gaddy said, hey, I want to do this thing. And so now I have an accountability metric to him to remind him that he told me that. Why? Because that's what relationship mandates. But somebody outside of that, whatever you do, that's on you. I'm okay with that now. And I think it was you, Chris, who brought it to the table. If you come and ask me, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
Whole nother ball of wax. Okay.
But I brought that up because, like I said, on a general scale, we have a horrible habit of doing that. We have a horrible habit of seeing somebody content with what they have, even though it's not a lot, and having an opinion about it and sharing that opinion with them when they didn't ask for it. Like,
But
what makes you think that you can tell me that and I'm getting the outcomes that I want, even though they're not as big as you think they should be? What makes you think that I'm limited just because you want more? I don't. I'm cool.
but
Understand what I'm
but to,
saying?
to but to what Roland brought up when he started, right? Is that idea of, like, I know people on my job, right? And I won't call nobody out, but that has, I would say, they have bad habits, right? And this is why, because every day they're mad about where they are, right? Somebody I know, and I'm just saying, somebody I know ain't got no kids, that paid like 20% of what my mortgage is and their rent, get paid more than what I get paid, but have more money problems, and they got no car payments. And I'm like, all right, so your money habits are bad. Let me see if I can connect you to somebody that can help you with money habits. My money habits ain't bad. It's just I got a lot of bit. Okay, check Raj. But I know your habits are bad because you're broke with limited financial responsibility. But who am I to say? I get that. Who am I to say? But if I can get someone for you to talk to that's a professional, oh no, and then that conversation don't go on no more. And a lot of times people do say, "Oh, you think you got the answers?" No, but if you're going to complain about it and you think I'm going to listen, no.
That's why I said what I said.
We're talking to the
Like,
wrong people.
Right.
That's the
Don't-
answer. We're talking to the wrong people.
Yeah.
Like the squeaky wheel syndrome is reality. Like the people
Yeah.
who talk the loudest, like that's not. And I'm just being honest. I don't think that that's the rule. I think that's the exception. And unfortunately, because of the space that we live in, everybody has one of these things. So the exception gets the talk. And in most cases, that's not really who they are anyway. They're just running their mouth. So I think if we stop giving them our energy, we can focus our energy on more important aspects, on helping those people who really want to learn and grow actually learn and grow. But those people, like, let them stay over there, man. If they want to barbecue, let them barbecue. I'm happy that they barbecuing. It looks and smells good too, by the way. But I'm going over here because I got this salad I'm fixing to eat. Because I'm trying to shave about 5 pounds and get like Chris in the gym. So so I'm just not gonna go to the gym. So yeah, and that's just my opinion. I think we got like a couple of minutes. Can we get like one more question in real quick? Um, let's knock this one out, and we're gonna be clear and concise with this one. Okay, given that routines can serve as both sanctuaries and prisons, how have you managed to infuse flexibility into a rigid routine to avoid feeling trapped while still achieving your goals?
I do something fun. I fit something fun or something that gets my mind off of this goal that I want to achieve into my routine, so that way it doesn't feel like a chore or a prison. And I said this before, like, we have a tendency And we have this pressure to always be moving and always be doing something. Like, it's okay to chill out. It's okay to relax. It's okay to bask in your achievements. You understand what I'm saying? Treat yourself. Chill out. You went to the gym 5 days. You ate clean 5, 6 days. Go ahead and have that piece of cheesecake. Just don't eat the whole thing. You understand what I'm saying? Like, add some fun to it. That's what I do.
I agree. I think purposely adding mental health things, breaks, different things like that into your daily routine and structure. Like sometimes I got a whiteboard in my office. Sometimes I'll put in, all right, every day on the hour or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I will get out and I do a movement break. I might do some push-ups. I might just do plank. I may do something simple, some simple body movement or exercise or something like that. Purposely put dates on the calendar with my wife. Purposely put things on the calendar that take care of my physical, that take care of my mental, and then allowing a space mentally to know and understand that there is always going to be life and something is always going to come up. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. I'm 47 years old. Things have been coming up my entire life. Things be going smooth, and then all of a sudden, life will happen. So I think the better we are prepared mentally for those things by creating structures and routines and things in our life that create balance, I think when those things and those tragedies and those stressful things come, they're not as hard to deal with. So, like I said, like Chris said, purposely putting things in your life that offer balance, fun, and different things like that, spending time with people.
I definitely agree about find time. I think sometimes it sometimes, and depend on what it is, right, and where you at in the stage of the thing you're doing. Sometimes it's okay to break routine just for the sake of, breaking the tension of life, right? When you feel like you are just roboting your way through life. All right. But we have to be careful not to make breaking our routine the new routine, because then you lose sight of what you were already doing. So okay, you know what, today I'm, instead of doing this, I'm gonna go by myself, and I'm gonna go to, and I live in Killeen, so if you've been here, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go to Hallmark and eat me some breakfast by myself, right? So I'm just gonna sit and chill, have me some fish and grits, and that's what I'm gonna do instead of doing this morning. But I gotta also understand what it comes with understanding too, right? I gotta understand that maybe me taking that 30 minutes or whatever to do this means I might have to double up when I get to work, because I still gotta check these emails, and I gotta do whatever I was gonna do, because that's the routine. So I might have to double up on the load for the first hour of the day when I get in, or whatever the case may be. Something may have had to pay the price. But I'm cool with that, taking my routine every now and then, but just don't make that routine breaking the routine, because then it's harder to get back into the habits of what you had already established for your success.
And I'd just like to add on to what these brothers said is know the difference between a job and a goal. Because a job is something that you do, but most of the time is for somebody else or it's for something else. But it has to be done at a particular time. While as your goals, if it's yours, you own it. So it's personal to you. You don't have to do it all today. You can do some of it today, some of it tomorrow, but have the ability and the flexibility to say, man, I don't feel like it today, so I'm just going to relax today. I'm not doing anything because I'm taking some me time. Because when it's all said and done, you have to make sure your mental is right. And if you treat it like a job, now I got to do it now, it becomes frustrating. And you get frustrated. Now depression comes and anxiety comes and all these pressures to get it done instead of having the ability to do it. You're looking at it as something that you have to do instead of something that you get to do, When you look at things that you get to do, there's more excitement in it for you. I get to wake up. When I get up in the morning, I got to wake up. I didn't have to wake up. I get to go on a walk. I get to do these things. But when I have to, it's like, I don't feel like doing this. So know the difference between a job and a goal.
I guess it's on me. Oh, my bad. I think it's simple for me. I time block. I put my tasks on a schedule. I give myself X amount of time to do a thing, and I try to hold myself to that as best I possibly can. Then I take naps. I don't mind taking naps because I wake up at 4:30 every morning, right? And when I'm up at 4:30 in the morning, that's when my time blocking begin. The first thing I do is I have focus time. I spend 1 hour at a minimum on myself, right? Reading, listening, doing something so that I can get sharp, sipping coffee and doing whatever it is I need to do. My day then begins shortly after talking to a few choice people, right? And so after that, then I go into the work that actually happens. And then probably about 2 o'clock, I'm taking another nap. I'm taking a nap, right? Because at the end of the day, it works that way. So it works for me. I'm not real like I think because you guys brought up subjective. I think the idea of fun is subjective, right? Because what's fun for one person may not necessarily be fun for another person, right? I've matured beyond certain things. Have I ever been on a boat? Nope. Do I want to go on a boat? Nope. But I have people say, "Hey, man, you can take a cruise." Thank you, but that's your opinion. I'm good. I have no desire to get on no boat and get stuck out in the water like you've seen some people do it before. So that's just my thoughts. Um, that said, that brings us to the bittersweet moment that we always have to come to. It is almost at the end, but we would not do you guys any justice if we don't give these fine gentlemen the floor to give us their final thoughts. So, with that being said, we're going to start off with the angry man himself, Cousin Chris.
My final thought is this. We just did a series on just a handful of the things that we as men either were never taught or need to learn how to fine tune. I would suggest that anyone watching this or anyone who knows someone who is watching this, direct them to this series because a lot of these things that we have been discussing, they have not been the topic of discussion in a lot of households. Some people didn't, they own our parents and our predecessors only knew what they knew, but there's new information out there and it needs to be shared. So that would be my final thought. Just share the information and maybe this will help the generation to come. That's my final thought.
Your routines and structures are a part of your everyday life. Every single day, you're part of some sort of structure or routine that you have set up for your life, either consciously or unconsciously. And I think that it's important for people to grab a hold of what's important in their life, what goals they want to achieve in life, and then create structures and routines for those goals. Even before you create those structures and routine, you need to start with the foundation or the mindset. Once you have the foundation of the mind or the mindset, then you can go and you can create those structures and those routines that will, like I said, in return, create the outcome that you want. So, here's the foundation, the mindset, the Empower Perspective podcast, the structure, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the routine is conversations and empowering perspectives. My final thought.
I'm always slow to the button. I need to get better. Um, I think this was a really great series. Like Chris alluded to, there's a lot more that we could have talked about, but I think we've gotten some things out there that need to be exposed at the least. But in the matter of this conversation, our success is tied into our daily routines and the structure that we have built for ourselves. And so I was thinking to myself some things that I can add in to my daily routine, right? Other than just get up, get dressed, go to the gym, shower, go to work, right? What are some things? And I started thinking about growth, right? I think sometimes we got to create as a space in our house, whatever, even if it's sitting in your car before you pull off, get in there a little early, right? But create an environment, and then in that environment, cultivate an atmosphere for whatever it is that you're looking to do. And then every day spend some time trying to plant that seed into your day. Somebody talked about the positive mindset building uh a better day, right? Create that positive mindset, build that, make that day better, but plant that seed in that day. And then some of the things in your routines that you might need to add are the things that you know that you need to get better at, you need to get stronger at. Let's work on those things. If you don't, you know, Chris talks about his back, right? Maybe maybe if the back is the strong part, but the bicep, I'm not saying you're weak, Chris, you're my brother. But the bicep is not as strong, then maybe I need to find me some workouts that are fine tune my my bicep, and whatever it is that it affects the thing that you do, the thing that you're trying to do, the thing that you want to do, and plant plant that seed of positivity, plant that, build that time to work on that, and let that start to cultivate your life every day, and then every day, sooner or later, every day you're gonna start seeing progress. Let's get better.
Get you a few friends that will tell you the truth to help your mentality when it comes to you, whether you're right or wrong. They will tell you how they see it, because sometimes we think we know everything since we're in it. We say, well, this is what I want to do. And other people may have gone through that. So when it comes to structures and routines, you can be defeating your own self before you even start, especially when you have goals, especially when you have somewhere to be. And we've talked about goal setting and knowing yourself as men or women or however that may be. But your mental affects everything about your day. So if you start on a low note, you're going to be a low vibrational person the whole day. And if you're that type of person, the only people you're going to attract are low vibrational people. So what we need to do is ensure that we get our minds together where we know who we are inside and out, and we know our capabilities. And if you say you're capable of more, you push yourself to do more, and stop settling for less. Stop settling for, oh, that'll do. And at the end of the day, when you look at it and say, man, I survived this day, but tomorrow I got to accomplish something else. I got to do more. I got to do better. And when you need to take a break, step back, sit down, take your break, but then get back into the grind. And if you don't want to grind, if you just want to relax, like me, I always tell people I'm retired. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to leave the house if I don't want to. But since I want to do things, I get up and I go. Or even if I make small goals for myself to make sure I'm not stagnant, and get out of that stagnant state and learn to enhance your capabilities and your ability to just do any and everything.
Great conversation that we've had. I want to leave you with this. I think everybody, and no, think I know for a fact that everybody's life has meaning. That's why you're here, right? So we need to get out of the habit of just frivolously moving along and living life and then just doing things haphazardly. If your life has meaning, then you need to define, you need to understand what the meaning of your life is all about. That's where the whole structure thing comes into play. You have to create a structure for your life. In the midst of creating that structure will define the routines that have to take place in order to bring that structure to fruition. I think it's important for everybody to digest that piece of information. The other side of that is that we don't have a complete anything. We don't have complete awareness. We don't have complete knowledge. We don't have complete nothing. We have a portion of the creator inside of every one of us. Therefore, it requires for us to come together, right? I share my piece, you share your piece, Roland share his piece, Garfield share his piece, Chris shares his piece, Gaddy shares his piece. And what you'll find is that we'll start putting the pieces together to come up with a whole picture. That's what a community is supposed to be about. So we have to get out of the mindset of, I don't need anybody else. I can do it all by myself. That is demonic. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's as hard as it's almost as clear as I can say it. That is demonic thinking because it's outside of the will of the Father. So that being said, you need to be around like-minded individuals that will actually stretch you, like Roland just said, stretch you beyond your own perceived capabilities. You don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how strong you are. You do not know wholly what you're capable of accomplishing. Therefore, that was one of the main reasons why we started this particular channel, because we want to be a voice of uplifting and edification of the entire community. We want to be the voice of reasoning and actually inject in you the positive information in the light of all of the chaos that goes on in the world that we know today. So that being said, again, we just want to thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. Remember, go to totalmindsetshift.com and register, become a member over there. It is free. And again, that way you'll have the ability to send us your questions for the sake of being a part of the monthly giveaway that we're going to do. Yes, sure. I don't know about Ohio State now, so you're doing too much. If you are a football fan, watch Georgia beat up on South Carolina tomorrow. Other than that, listen, you guys have a great weekend. Have a phenomenal weekend. And remember, your life has meaning. It is up to you to determine what it is. So with that being said, same time next week, this channel, the Hearts of Men podcast. Have a great weekend.